What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It is your host that does the absolute most spiritual intellectual 777 here once again, coming at you guys from the House of Greatness. And today's video, we're going to talk about how the ego can block your happiness, right? And before I proceed with the video, I just want to tell you guys that, I'm going to be AWOL from YouTube for, I think from a couple weeks to a couple months because I have something that's going on behind the scenes in my life that I'm not going to be revealing on here simply because you know how people are on social media and stuff. But yeah, it's going to be really, really, really important. This is like a key change in my life. And just simply put, it's going to require all of my focus and all of my attention away from YouTube. And do not worry, I'm going to have videos that premiere on this channel for the next 3 other Fridays, this being the first of them. But yeah, so basically background on this video is that the ego does get a bad rap in a spiritual community, but it's an essential part of our path, which is why we have an ego in the first place, right? Because we didn't have an ego, we wouldn't exist in this plane right now as we speak. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't be sitting here in front of you today having a conversation with you if I didn't have an ego, right? And the ego gives you a sense of personal identity while you're on this plane, essentially, right? However, that can be damaging to you in the long term because you feel this sense of separation from God and from everything around you, when in reality, nothing is separate. Everything is one. But the ego will have you thinking that because you have given it way too much power, And one of the ways that you can do this is by overly identifying with your body, with your financial status, your occupation, your race, your skin color, your religious affiliation, all that stuff. And it can lead to major, major suffering. But, when you're on a path that's out of alignment with you and that causes you great suffering, that can actually bring you closer to your higher self if you see life from a different perception, right? So just remember, the ego is not the enemy. However, if given too much power, it will wreak havoc on your life, and here's how. So let's move on to the video. So the first way that the ego blocks your happiness is you have the Messiah complex, right? And this pretty much means that you believe it is your duty and obligation to save people from their suffering, right? And this comes from a place of spiritual arrogance. And, I know that a lot of us in the spiritual community, when we become woke, so to speak, and we start getting these insights from source/God or whatever, who it is you believe in and whatever name you want to assign to this higher intelligence, doesn't really matter because it's all talking about the same thing, is that literally we have this temptation in thinking that, it's our duty to go ahead and save the world and get rid of people's problems. But the thing that's wrong with that is we're infringing upon other people's free will and expansion, right? And our angels and spirit guides, mean well for us, and so does God/source itself. It wants us to succeed and to be happy and to be in alignment with our purpose. But at the same time, they realize that it will be in violation of universal law to all of a sudden just intervene and take over our lives and make us do stuff, right? And so it's going to, and so like with that being said, you're going to have to like really just realize that other people are on their own paths. And as much as it hurts you to see that other person suffering and just like rejecting all sorts of help that's coming to them, then, you can't do nothing about that except just hope that that person wakes up and chooses to stop causing their own suffering and move towards their higher self and just willingly make that choice by themselves. Yes, you can guide them to water, but you can't make them drink, right? And so before I move on to the next point, I'm going to tell you a quick little story. And so there's this man that is walking down the street, right? He's just minding his own business, got his own headphones in, just jamming to some nice tunes. Then all of a sudden he sees, this other man over here who's just like out of his mind. He is as high as a kite and he just don't know where the hell he is. And so the man with the headphones takes it off and he pauses his music and he asks the other dude, like, hey, are you all right? Like, is this so? Are you okay? And the other man that's just like pretty much cracked out of his mind is like way out of this reality. Like, I'm freaking fantastic. Yeah, fantastic. And then, the man with the headphones is telling him like, hey, okay, I'm gonna get you some help. All right. I'm gonna help you up. And the other dude is like, I don't need no friggin' help. I got it all by myself. And then the man with the headphones, the one that's sober, picks him up anyways and tries to help dude. And the other dude that's like cracked out of his mind is just like, fighting him. He's swinging his arms like, get that off, man. When don't help. He's just fighting. He's just fighting this dude with the headphones. But dude with the headphones is like very persistent. He's not gonna take no for an answer. And so he keeps trying to help him. And then, the homeless man that's cracked out of his mind is fighting him some more. And the guy with the headphones is struggling to try to get this dude up and try to give him some help. But, and then eventually the homeless dude just stops and he's just like, accepts his fate, so to speak. And then he drags, and the man with the headphones just drags the homeless man to his car. Then they go ahead and drive to, rehab, where he's trying to help this homeless man. He pretty much lies to him beforehand, before they arrive at the facility, and tells him like, we just gonna go to the store and get you something to eat, right? I don't know. I don't know why he made up that, but he just did. And so he drives him to rehab, right? And then the homeless man is like, he's still cracked out of his mind, but the high is starting to wear off a little bit. He's like, wait a minute, this ain't the stuff, man. You were lying to me. And then he just yelling at the dude, and he just yelling at the dude that had the headphones on, and the dude in the headphones on is like, sorry, sir, it's for your own good. And so, the dude that's in the car that drives the car, the one with the headphones, he walks into the facility and lets them know like, hey, there's a gentleman in my car, that's like cracked out of his mind and needs some help. And so they go ahead and then rush the employees out to go help the homeless man. And the homeless man is just being all hostile and just fighting the staff and really, really violently, not violent to the point where there's blood and stuff like that, but he's just swinging and kicking and doing all sorts of stuff from getting, going into the facility, right? And I'm pretty sure you know where I'm going with this, but I still want you to pause this video and type in the comment section what lesson is being portrayed in the story right here, or what scenario, if you will, right? And so we're moving on to the next point. So the second point of this video is excessive positivity. And you probably like scratch your head right now and saying, huh? Like, how is like excessive positivity a bad thing? Well, for one thing, pretending that everything is okay, pretending that everything is jolly and fantastic and amazeballs in your day, when in reality, your day was probably mundane, is you not being authentic to how you feel on the inside. And you're not expressing those emotions as well, right? You're not staying true to that. Instead, when people ask you how you're doing, you're just saying, oh, everything's jolly and fantastic. I had the best day ever, knowing damn well you was probably bored. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that, every single person's day is boring, but for the majority of people, it is. You know what I'm saying? And if your day was boring, then just express that and be truthful with it. If you are pissed off, if you're angry, if you're feeling sad, you know what I'm saying? Or better yet, feeling fearful, let people know that, because it does you no good in suppressing how you truly feel, because you're not being authentic. And, especially in today's day and age, people can see right through your bullshit. And so it's going to behoove you to be authentic all the way in your life, because that makes your life and everybody else's lives easier, so to speak. No, not so to speak. It actually literally does make your life and everybody else's life easier. And the only reason why, you're pretending that your day is jolly and fantastic when it isn't is because you subconsciously have this fear of what other people think, right? Because if you didn't, then you wouldn't be pretending so much that everything's all jolly and cool and hip, right? I don't even know if people even say that nowadays, but let's just go with it for this example's sake. And I want you to know something too, that even the most spiritually disciplined people have their off days. But you know what? They just roll with it and just go with the flow. They don't pretend that they're feeling great and that everything's jolly when it isn't. They just realize, the universal law of polarity, what goes up must come down. There's left and right. There's positive and negative. And so you just have to make peace with how you truly feel in this present moment. And that, my friends, is going to lead you to spiritual liberation if you allow yourself to experience that. And moving on to the next point. So the third point that I want to make in this video is you care about what others think of you. And this is like another common trap that people fall into. They don't even realize that they're doing it. And I get it. We as like a human race are social creatures, right? And we are looking for this sense of connection through our fellow human beings. And we derive our sense of purpose and identity from our family, our friends, the religion, and our cultural upbringing around us growing up. But if we continue to try to find ourselves through other people in adulthood, then it becomes a major issue in our life. And simply put, if you keep on making decisions that are out of alignment with your truth, then you're going to live in regret that you wasted all of these years caring way too much about what people think of you, right? And this is one of the most common regrets of dying people, is they wish they would have not cared what people thought of them and just lived their own lives. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you yet another story before I proceed with the rest of the video. So there's this, grown woman, right? She has these big dreams of wanting to be let's just say, a painter, right? She really loves painting. She loves painting. She's been painting her butt off since she was like 3 years old. And then, she tells her parents, like way beforehand, like she already like told her parents this beforehand, but they kind of just denied her dream and told her like, nah, you shouldn't be doing that, you know? And so even though like consciously she knows she wants to paint, she has this subconscious programming that, she can't live her dream of painting, but yet she pursues it anyways. And so, she goes ahead and she starts like broadcasting, to her closest friends and her other family members and to people on social media that, she's just going to go ahead and quit her job and pursue painting full time. But before she can carry out her plans, there's her family members, strangers on social media, and our closest friends is like, no, don't do that. Like, you already making six figures at your job. Why in the hell are you going to quit that? Just stay put right where you are. You can go ahead and paint later when you're older. Don't do this and don't do that. And because she doesn't have the spiritual discipline and she's not as emotionally and mentally strong as she could be, she eventually like caves under pressure and keeps her day job and, completely just puts her painting dreams to the back burner yet again. And then fast forward 50 years from now, she was 30 at this time. Now she's like 80. And she's sitting there and she's like, damn, like, where the hell did the time go? And she's not dying necessarily, but, she has this regret of not pursuing her painting dreams. And, she feels like it's too late when in reality, like, as long as you are alive on this earth, it's never too late to go after your dream. But in her mind, it is, because she's like, man, I'm too old to be a painter. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just not going to paint. And then, another person steps into her life, a complete stranger tells her like, look, you may regret paint. You may regret not following your dream early on, but it's never too late. But by now, like, she's not having it, she's not going to she's not going to try to go after her dream anymore. She's already made up in her mind that, it's already too late. And so she lives the remainder of her life. And then she just passes away with a whole bunch of regret and with her music still inside of her. And so do not be like that lady who gave up on her dream, no matter what your dream is. Now, if your dream is if you're in your 40s and you talking about going to the NFL and the NBA, you can pretty much just forget about that. You know what I'm saying? I don't mean to shit on your dreams or anything, but there's a cap on when you can be a professional athlete. If you're in your 40s or 50s or 60s and you got a dad or a mom bod and you're not as fast as you used to be and your knees are probably like weak right now, not because you're in love with somebody, but because, quote unquote, old age, even though we know that, that's just a story we tell ourselves, but I'm just using this as a prime example. You can forget about being a professional athlete. I'm just saying. But anyways, moving on to the next point. So the fourth point that I want to make in this video is where you cling on to the illusion of security. And it's like a lot of us get so lulled to sleep in our comfort zones, right? You may have like achieved that American dream by getting a white picket fence house. You got your dream partner. You got a great paying job, to where you have all your bills covered and you even have, more than enough left over to go ahead and just have fun. And, you have a fit body, and you have like, a nice little income coming in, right? But then life takes an unexpected turn by you probably getting sick, your partner leaving you, your house getting foreclosed, You losing all of your material possessions and everything is coming crashing down right before your eyes. And you're probably sitting there like, why me? Like, why is this happening to me? I don't deserve this. I'm a good person. Why is all of this? Why am I getting bad luck all of a sudden? But the fact of the matter is that change is a natural part of life. Change is pretty much the only thing that stays the same. Other than that, everything else in life is changing at a rapid pace, especially in 2020. The energies of 2020 is moving so rapidly, and there's so much rapid change going on that anybody that's not riding the new wave of this energy of 2020 and not adapting to change is literally dying off, right? And you probably just noticed that there's been an influx of deaths all throughout 2019 and even some coming into 2020, simply because most folks are either leaving out of here by choice or they're resisting the change. Right? And we all know the theory of evolution by Charles Darwin, which is really not a theory because you either have to evolve or you die. And he pretty much said that, it's not the species that's the strongest or the fastest, but the one that can adapt. And if you can learn to adapt with the changes in life and just go with the flow instead of resisting it, then life is going to be a hell of a lot easier for you. And therefore you will survive. You will outlive those who resist the change, right? And most people, when they go through something like the scenario that I just talked about, they tend to become depressive. And then they start going to hitting up the bars and start drinking themselves to the puke. They may even indulge in some drugs, and they start numbing themselves by scrolling endlessly on social media, pornography, and all these other vices, simply because they don't want to face themselves and actually change and adapt with their newfound circumstances, right? And the ego does this out of fear. It resists change out of fear. And it tells us this story that change is scary and, it gets overwhelmed. And it's like, it's like really out of whack and out of tune with the times, because the ego clings on to a specific identity. And since, your ego is going to fight tooth and nail to maintain its identity, it's going to make it harder for you to achieve any type of lasting peace and happiness, because the ego is either living in the past or overly obsessing about the future. And also, your ego will prevent you from being happy in the present moment by just reminiscing off of the quote unquote good old days, right? And I even caught myself doing this yesterday by reminiscing over like middle school for some reason. Like, I'm sitting here like, damn, like, man, I can't believe 10 years ago, like I started middle school and this, that, and the third. And life was so much simpler then. Only thing I had to worry about was just going to school and getting good grades and staying out of trouble. And that was it. But, even then I had to remind myself like, dude, snap out of it, man. Don't slip back into the past. Just keep moving forward. Keep on moving forward. Don't live in the past. Don't forget the quote unquote good old days. Just be in the present moment right now, because this is where the magic is literally happening right now. Not in the past, right now. And so I want to say this last thing before I move on to the next point, is that you just got to adapt, people. Yes, life may have dealt you a shitty hand right now, but you got to learn to turn that shit into sugar. Be the alchemist. Turn the negative situation into a positive and learn the lesson that you need to learn from it, and choose to be at peace with where you are right now so that you can move forward into a better life and be happier. All right. So moving on to the last point. So the very last point in this video is you live in the past, like I talked about in the last point. And we do this out of fear of the unknown. The present moment is ever adapting and ever changing. And so to create this illusion of security of some sort, we tend to reference the past, just as a sense of comfort and familiarity. Even though our past may have come with a lot of hurt and pain, we find the past oddly comforting because it's familiar to us and we've already been through it. And then we start creating this sense of security, which is basically us pulling wool over our own eyes, so to speak. It's not society's doing it, it's us doing it to ourselves, simply because we do not want to surrender to the present moment at all. We rather cling on to that odd comfort of the pain and angst of the past and hold on to all that resentment and grudges, because without clinging on to the past, it forces us to really sit in the silence and to face ourselves 100%. And the ironic part about life is that it's not the chaos that makes us uncomfortable, it's the silence that makes us uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And there's this saying that goes that most people don't want to heal their pain. They don't want to get rid of their sorrows. They don't want to, get rid of those grudges, let go of drama and chaos in their life, let go of what no longer serves them. Because why? It forces them to face the big old unknown and to face themselves. So you got to stop living in the past, my people. We can't keep doing that. We can't keep slipping back into the past and into the so-called good old days simply because the present moment makes us uncomfortable. You just got to roll with the punches and make the best of right now, and to stop delaying our happiness for the so-called future. All right? So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video by saying thank you guys for tuning in on another Friday. And, if you're brand spanking new to this channel, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that bell right next to it so you get notified every single Friday that we go live at 11 o'clock a.m. And if you are a supporter of the A-Mills Productions, brand, make sure to go ahead and cop you some merch right now by clicking the link in the description below so you can get yours today. All right. And also make sure to smash the hell out of this like button and make sure to comment down below what your favorite standout part of this video was that really resonated with you on a deeper level. And make sure to go ahead and share this with your friends and fam that you believe needs to see this video. And as always, peace in and out with the highest vibes, and I'll catch you guys next Friday.